Hello and welcome to Meet Our Makers, an artist interview podcast produced in association with Beats Per Minute. I'm your host, Jeremy J. Facette. On this episode, we get to meet Julia Holter. Julia Holter is a singer, songwriter, pianist, keyboardist, multi-instrumentalist, composer extraordinaire from LA, and she has just released her great new record called Something in the Room She Moves. In this chat, Julia and I talk quite a bit about this new record, including how she constructed and produced these songs, the histories behind some of them, the themes behind some of them, and also we spend quite a bit of time picking apart the glorious, glorious title track, and much more. We really get into the nitty-gritty of this album. We also talk about her other work, like Have You in My Wilderness, which was sort of a little poppier for her, and Aviary, her last record, which was this 90-minute orchestral, as she would call, self-indulgent art piece, and how she always tries to challenge herself and not repeat herself. We also talk about her work in the world of film scoring, like the score for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, which she composed, as well as the live score she did for The Passion of Joan of Arc, and a few other things. It's a great chat with a great artist, and I'm humbled and honored that she agreed to come on and chat for a little while. So thank you for listening. This is me meeting Julia Holter.
How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm just sort of hanging out. My husband's in Florida this weekend, so I am like realizing how like unmoored I am, like when my
Yeah.
schedule is like blown open. Um, I worked today and now I'm like, what do I do now? I don't. Okay, I guess I have to figure something out.
Right. Usually you have like a plan together to do
Yeah, or
something.
like, he gets home after me, so then like when he leaves work is like when I start like making dinner or something.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, when do I eat? What do I cook? Like, do I cook? Like,
totally.
yeah, I
Do I
feel,
cook is always the
do I
question.
cook? Yeah, no, I feel a little untethered right now, but that's all right. It's just a weekend. I mean, I can't be that clingy.
Right. No, I
Um,
know.
so thank you for coming and hanging out for a little bit. I'm really pleased that you agreed to come on and hang out. Um,
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I mean, I've had this show coming on 4 years, and it has been almost six since your last record. Um, so I have not had the chance to invite you yet. So I was very happy that you agreed to come on. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
We should say early on, we are the occasion that really brings us here is that your new record, Something in the Room She Moves, is out on March 22nd, which is really, really coming up.
Yeah.
On Domino. And yeah, we're very close to the release. I mean, do you get nervous at all before release dates?
Not exactly. It's more like so much work.
Mm.
There's like so much to do. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I get um it's scary to like show your work for the first time for sure, but there's always been like singles presented already, and I would say like not nervous, but there is a part of me that's like happy.
Hmm.
Um Regardless of how you feel about the record, which always when you release something, for most people I know at least, there's like this weird part of you that's like, I want to change this, or like to some extent, like I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm past that at this point actually, because I it's been so long since I finished the record, but it's still a little like for I think for most people, I don't know if this is true, but I think for a lot of people at least, promoting your work is and like all the kind of admin stuff around the art and promotional stuff is kind of challenging.
Hmm.
Because you're always like uh because you're kind of like summing up something, and it's like hard to sum up, and you're also and like you have to present it and frame it, and
Yeah.
maybe there are things that you wish you could change because you're obsessive about your music, things like that.
Hmm.
but you can't change it, so you just have to accept it. And like,
Yeah.
I don't have that, like, especially with this record or anything, but I think that's just a typical feeling.
Yeah. I mean, do you consider yourself obsessive with the little details?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's normal for artists to be like that a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, but not in like a bad way, just that I really care, you know?
Yeah. And you mentioned the record has been done for a while. I mean, was it delayed from COVID?
There were a lot of little things.
Okay.
Well, there were a lot of little things like about that took me to take a long time, but yes, were related to COVID. And then there were like, um, and then it just took a while to find a time for it to be released. I don't know why, but everything takes a while with like releasing things because
Mm.
you want to make sure it's the right time for your label, and
Mm-hmm.
the label has certain opinions, and then you have certain opinions. I had certain schedule things, and it's just like you have to think about when you can tour and you all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah. It
yeah.
does, I wasn't really thinking about this until right now, but it does kind of feel like a spring album.
Oh, that's good.
You know, it's coming out like right as spring begins. I think that's actually
Uh-huh.
kind of fitting.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never had
Um,
a record out this time of year. It's always been in the fall.
oh yeah, I guess I never would have put that together, but yeah.
I think. I mean, maybe not my early. I don't remember when my first records came out, but
Yeah. I certainly don't remember. I didn't write that in my notes. Um, I do know Aviary came out in the fall because my notes are telling me that it was about 5.5 years ago, so that would make sense.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, isn't it? It's really strange. Even as like a fan, as like a listener, it's weird because sometimes, artists go away for 2 years and come back, and even that can sometimes feel like a while.
Yeah.
But then other times artists go away for 5.5 years, and it kind of doesn't feel like that long because I don't know. I don't know if it's because we keep listening or because we don't. I don't know. Like I think about this with like Joanna Newsom, who's on my mind lately,
Yeah.
because she hasn't released music in 10 years, and or 8 years, and I'm of course as a fan I'm like grumpy and upset about it, but like as also as a fan I'm like, but there's such richness there that like we could wait 8 more years and still have stuff to listen to.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean,
I agree with that.
not to embarrass you, but there is something about your work, especially Aviary, I think that is just so there's so much to unpack that I feel like 5.5 years went by in such a flash.
I agree. I also think there's a couple things like the pandemic, you have to like subtract 2 years from
Right.
everything. Like most people I talk to, they get that. Like everyone's confused because like they think something was 3 years ago, but it was five.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like this 2 year that kind of like something weird happened. But
Yeah.
also just I think I agree with like releasing stuff. It's like I'm so like not into this thing of content. Like you have to have content. Like
Yeah.
Daniel Ek is like, you need to release constantly. All artists are lazy if they only want to make a record every 3 years. It's like, that is not the solution to good music.
No.
Like that way of thinking to me is like very problematic. So, but I just think that's like content is like the way things are or whatever. But I really am like totally happy for Joanna Newsom, who I also love her music so much.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for her to just take her time and like
Right.
make an incredible another record. Like take her time. Like it's
Right.
fine.
No, and there is something
If
about
you
taking your
can,
time.
just take your time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And she absolutely can. Like, especially because she's earned that spot. And I'm sure Drag City is not like, Joanna, hello. Because they know, everyone knows, like there are certain people who can take their time. And if you can, why would we want to rush it? So take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
Um, but so the album has been done a while. How long do you think it kind of took you to record this one? Was it a
Oh, it
long
was kind of
process?
ridiculous. Yeah, it was so long because there were a lot of stages. So there was like 2019 is probably when I started the first song, which I believe the first song was Materia,
Hmm.
the first song from the whole record that I wrote. And then the two like like to me, the kind of two songs that were very foundational for me realizing, okay, here's a record where the next ones, I think, and those were they came out of the same beat initially, so I think of them as like sisters or something.
Mm.
But it's something in the room. She was in evening mood, and so I had started. In a lot of ways, I feel like the record started being made in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was the start of the pandemic, which wouldn't have been. Yeah, but I was also pregnant, and I had just gotten pregnant, so it was like very intense time, like a
Yeah.
lot of hormonal shifts changing my. I couldn't like read books for some reason. I don't know. It was like very, very different. I wasn't seeing anyone because it was COVID.
Yeah.
Like everyone was in isolation. It was quite depressing. A lot of death everywhere and just
Right.
terrible time. And I didn't really. It was like really hard for me to write, but I tried, and especially like I tried knowing that it would be even harder when I actually had a child, so I really tried to, like, do it, but I was so tired all the time, so it was, like, kind of funny. It was just a new way of being that I hadn't experienced before, so
Yeah.
that really slowed me down, and then having a kid, but not in a bad way. It's like we had just been touring, like, my partner and I, Tashi, we toured each other's groups for 2 years. Not that's not true, but for most of 2019 and then a little bit of 2018 as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so intense, and it was also great, like dream bands, like, my band was so great, and it was, like, 6 people. It was, like, this really big band for someone my level, like, kind of crazy that I was, like, that big a band, um, but I think, like, it was just a really intense. Aviary was a sprawling record, like, it was just really intense, like, it was
Yeah.
kind of fulfilling all my musical fantasies and, like, really indulgent time period. And then, like, we were just so exhausted by the end of 2019, and then thought that maybe it would be another 2 years of or year maybe of writing, and then but it was, like, totally different, than you think. No
Yeah.
one expected the pandemic, and yeah, and then, we would try to record finally in, like, 2021. Both Tashi and I were trying to record things, and, like, someone had COVID, and then, like, someone
Yeah.
would get COVID, and then I mean, it was very early on still, and you had to wait, and then someone else, and then I got co I don't know, just, like, kind of, like,
No, it was like a
all this
series of
kinda
events.
stuff. Yeah, and then, like, the studio, like, weird things would happen, like, that would get in the way, and, like and then when I had to record my vocals, I had COVID again, which was really mild, but it was just that my voice went away, so I couldn't sing. And then anyways, like all this stuff would happen that made little things, it's like probably true for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
But it happened.
Yeah, it did
You
happen.
you
And it
made it
was really
through.
fun
Oh, good. I
when
mean,
we
that's
finally
good.
got it to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a tricky record to like get right? Because like it is a pretty complex, meticulous album.
Oh, good. Um,
Or did it sort of just come really naturally?
Neither. I don't know. It was like it because of all these like obstacles, it was kind of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The obstacles mostly just being I was in a new situation, and so I was like figuring out how to do things in a new situation, and then like but I think like the things that propelled it were like the new situation also because you have new experiences and new emotions, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
I had like birth, but I had death, like loss of family members, especially my 18-year-old nephew.
Oh
And
wow.
then I had like the birth of my child, and it was just so intense.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people had so much loss during this time period. So yeah, it just was like uh, a complex time, but I think that is in the record.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you think that found a way into the record?
Hmm.
Yeah. And it is complex. I mean, I've listened to it a few times. I was listening to a couple songs just before we came on here again, and it is a complex record. I mean, Aviary, as you say, was this sort of sprawling piece. It was very long, very experimental. Um, and it came after what was maybe seen as like your poppiest album, Have You in My Wilderness. Um, and now we get this one, which is still quite, I think, meticulously constructed. And there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of sound. There's a lot of instrumental pieces to this machine on this record.
Hmm.
Um, was it all very carefully constructed before you went into record, or is there sort of an improvisatory element to it?
Each song is different. There, I would say like the most interesting stuff to talk about was like there's some tracks like Spinning, Evening Mood, and um I'm like, what is the name of my song? Sorry, the what is the talking to the whisper?
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
three songs were recorded. Maybe there's another one too, but I can't remember. Were recorded with the three, like the rhythm section and me. So with Beth Goodfellow, Deb Hoff, and me in the studio all at once. And
Mm.
that was really fun. And that was very like to the chart and very like pretty specific um and but and also Dev had the bass player also was like writing these lines at home, like working on a lot of these bass lines because the bass was supposed to be like really fundamental part, the fretless specifically, a
Hmm.
fundamental part of the record. And I've also worked with Dev for so long and like really so that was sort of like a centerpiece for sure. And she had been working on those lines a lot. So um so that was like already for some of the songs, like the ones I mentioned, I think, or like maybe more like yeah, Evening Mood, and I can't, anyway, there's a lot, but Evening Mood and Spinning, especially those two, she was really like digged deep on those with the bass. And so
Hmm.
yeah, there was a lot planned out ahead in that sense. I make demos of the songs, so like I make my own bad solos also as some kind of a guide, but really like someone like Chris Speed or Maia, they come in playing on sax or flute, like
Yeah.
definitely do their own thing. But I do all these things just as like placeholders sometimes to for a sense, and then I have charts and stuff. But then there was also like Sun Girl, for example, was different. It was like a thing where I had a barely even a structure. I just had like these like cells that I brought in of like chart of chords, and I was like, okay, now let's play in this mode and
Hmm.
like jam, basically like something playful, and we jam. Like it was very loose because I knew that what I wanted to do with that song was something I would have to like construct, like collage together with sounds and samples and beats and stuff. I didn't want it to be like improvised in real time.
Hmm.
I wanted it to have a lot of like drum machine and like be something. And so I knew that, and so I had us play some crazy sounding improvisations, which were insane because I didn't really have like a specific, very clear direction with that. I just was like, let's just play something, and it was really funny. Whatever we did was sounded so funny originally, and then but then I took it and like apart and like basically just like built it using certain little sounds here and there. But
Yeah.
so that song was very different than the other songs, which were much more like, yeah, like the three of us, rhythm section and me, record for a song like Spinning. We record together. It was so fun. We're basically performing together.
Hmm.
And then I brought in Maia and on flute and well, this would be for like Something in the Room She Moves, that song, for example. And then Chris Speed on sax or clarinet, depending on the song. And then my partner Tashi recorded his amazing synths at home. Anyway, so that was
Yeah.
like process.
Would
And then
you?
I was working with Kenny Gilmore, who I've worked with for years, who's
Oh, okay.
amazing. And yeah,
Is the who's the bassist you work with?
Dev.
Did,
Hoff.
did she also work on because you said it's been a while working with her. Did she also work on Loud City Song?
Yes, she's been all my records since Loud
Okay.
City Song.
Okay. Because I was gonna say I remember when I first heard Loud City Song and
Hmm.
the bass is so integral to that record. Um
So big.
and yeah, and huge. And it was like we hadn't heard that from you at that point. So I think it's cool that she's
Yes.
she's still there because that was something that stuck out to me on this new one too, was the bass. It's so
Oh, so good.
fluid and so
Yes,
warm at the same time. Very, very good.
exactly.
And I mean, I'm glad you mentioned your players. Sometimes people, and I don't begrudge them this, but sometimes people do come on here and like don't remember who was in the studio because there are like
Oh
18
yeah.
people.
Oh
Um,
no.
but it's nice to that you mentioned the players because like everyone on this record is so good.
Yes.
Um, when I say this is a great album, I'm not saying that to like embarrass you or to single you out because like everyone on it is so good. The
Yeah, they're
horns are
so
so
great.
good, the woodwinds are so good, everyone is so
So
good.
good. I know.
Um, and it reminded me a little of your past two records. Like I feel like it sort of sits in some sort of middle area between something a lot more sort of structured like Have You in My Wilderness and something much more
Hmm.
freeform like Aviary. Um,
Yeah.
do you think you feel it a little more at home in like one of those camps versus the other, the sort of abstract experimental versus like the more pop oriented structural songs?
Aviary was very much my sense. That was like it was kind of like it was so me that it was like just like I think like records like Tragedy and Aviary feel very close to me
Hmm.
personally. Like, or I don't know what that means. Actually, that's some kind of weird false statement because art is not me.
I know what
But
you mean though.
I think that those are the most. They're really like I'm indulging in like my fantasies basically
Hmm.
on those records, and I think it was really like I almost like I never had this before after Aviary, but I just was like, wow, I just like did everything. I'm done now. Like that was it, which was so funny because I never feel that way. I didn't really feel that way, but I think I was also tired, but like it was very indulgent
Yeah.
basically. I was like doing everything I wanted and I was just like, okay, it's 90 minutes. Like I didn't even think a lot about it while we were recording.
Yeah.
I had no idea how long it was.
Yeah.
And I did it but I wanted to include everything and I realized that's what it was, but I wasn't trying to make something epic, but I was being very indulgent. I was doing I used to have a lot more time than I do now. And
Yeah.
that's like an interesting thing is like, I just had a lot of time to do every little thing, every little detail I wanted.
Yeah.
And like, of course, even in the end, I'm sure there were things that there are still things I wanted to change here and there, but like really, I just didn't have that kind of time anymore making this new record. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's actually cool.
Well,
And I don't mean
it's a
that
reflection.
yeah, and I don't think it means I should have had time or like, um, I think that it's just that sometimes it's like you don't have to indulge in every little, like sometimes I'm very into production and I'm like really intense about it.
Hmm.
And I think like there are songs that are not very produced on the record and in it, like they're not stylized, like say These Morning, that's like the second track. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, or like I just didn't overthink it. I just kind of did it and I accepted it as it was and I think that's a healthy thing too and it's just a different record, it's a different time and it's like and I and um and I think I don't think it's the same with Happy in My Wilderness. I think I was trying something different there. And
Hmm.
I think in a way what I was trying to do in Happy in My Wilderness was like unique for me. And it was like alien to me to try to like make something really coherent, like or something.
As opposed to something that's
But
sort of like more, maybe a little more arch or more like you have to kind of dig in it a little bit more, maybe.
yeah, I think I just was pushing myself to try to do um I was kind of trying to make like this is so funny. It's like so embarrassing, but I kind of was trying to make like country music. I was trying to like
I
make
mean, I hear it.
like kind of like I kind of think that I wanted to make like this like nice like real like I don't know. It's something I don't really understand now, but I was what I was what I mean by that, but that was my memory. I wanted to I don't know, I was like somehow thinking of like Nashville. What is that? Like make like like pastoral like
Mm-hmm.
songs,
Mm-hmm.
love songs,
Yeah.
really.
I mean, Every Time Boots is like a country jam.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's so
there's that.
funny.
But then also, I mean, Have You in My Wilderness, I know I keep mentioning that it's like your poppiest record, but I really do mean that relatively. Um, because it was coming after something like Loud City Song, which kind of approached that, but still had a lot of sort of dreamy abstraction in it. Um,
Hmm.
but then Have You in My Wilderness still did have songs like Vasquez or
Hmm.
the climaxes of all the songs, how they'd kind of approach this chaotic climax. Like it still had that sort of experimental DNA in it.
Right.
So that was still there. But this new one, I mean, it does feel like a very neat sort of sitting at this nexus of both of those albums. Um, in a way that I really liked because it is sort of like warm and approachable in a way that Aviary wasn't. And I do think Aviary was an incredible piece of music, but like it is a I feel like Aviary is extremely inaccessible,
Oh yeah.
at least in terms of like pop music.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I don't even, yeah, I mean, I don't think I can ever like claim pop music as a thing that I'm able to do.
Right. But this new one is
Sadly.
it reminds me of like when I was interviewing Zola Jesus and she was talking about
Hmm.
the one album she did with I forget which label it was, but it was like her stab at like big pop stardom and it didn't suit her, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we just, we know we know where we should be. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Um
good to try things and
right, exactly. And that's what we were
see.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. And she was like, I forget exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, I needed to try it. I needed to show myself
Yeah.
if I could do it or not.
Yeah.
But this new one is it is, I think, warmer and more sort of inviting, and yet it does still have a lot of that experimentalism. I mean, the title track, I would love to talk about the title track. Um, I think after a few listens, it's the one that I'm gravitating to the most. Um, well, actually, before we get into the content of it, since it is a title track, can you sort of briefly explain for people who don't know, like how you landed on that title? Because I read a little bit about it, but
Yeah. I I had this beat that I mentioned earlier in this discussion
hmm
that led to two songs. One was Evening Mood and was Something in the Room She Moves. Beat changed, obviously. But and so then I had these two different project files and I had to name one of them and I named it Something in the Room He Moves. Like in the moment I had to come up with a name. So
and that just
in that
sprung to your
moment
mind.
that came to my mind. I have no idea why. Like
Okay.
no idea. I don't remember why.
Yeah. And then it just
And
stuck.
then and then I just like loved it so much and I had like to name my like lyrics text file where I like type in like lyrical ideas or poetic
hmm
ideas, something, and I named it Something in the Room He Moves, which is so funny. And then like, but then I wanted it to be Something in the Room She Moves.
hmm
Um, and I kept like trying to think of what the title for that song would actually be, and I just really liked that title.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to when I was had to decide, and then there were all these little Beatles things like I did grow up listening to the Beatles, like, a lot of people, but so I'm a fan, but
hmm
like not like there's no connection with my record like in an obvious way. But I just really have a love for like the feeling of like knowing it's the right title but not knowing why.
mm
I like know sometimes when something's the right thing, but I couldn't pin my finger on it why. But like I don't know, I like loved well I was singing Beatles to like my daughter, putting her to sleep a lot because I had to draw on songs that I knew all the words to, and those are like songs that I listened to in my youth, like, or that I like learned all the words to, are the ones that I could were the only ones I could, and I don't have a lot of that in my
Hmm.
brain. So I just had like Beatles songs and like Joni Mitchell songs. And I
Yeah.
was like singing Joni Mitchell and the Beatles to my baby all the time. So then I was like, also, like, that was like a reflection. And then there was also like this great documentary, Get Back, that came out in 2021. And that was
Hmm.
like also a big inspiration to me because it's just a really interesting documentary about the creative process. And I found it really moving. And I just like think the Beatles, yeah, they're one of the biggest bands of all time or whatever. And I don't know what you want to say. They're super famous. It's not that interesting to talk
Yeah.
about, but I would say that like, um, I think that it's notable that they really just did what they wanted,
Yeah.
it seems, which I think is pretty cool. They
Yeah.
really just did what they wanted. There's other artists, and they were coming in a time where there was a lot of experimentation in music, so
Hmm.
they had it going for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I don't know. Yeah, so that it just there were just some little like nice things that just somehow it all like fit together that was the title.
Yeah.
It's some kind of like subconscious thing, and then there's some kind of subversion of the song title lyric in there too. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a peculiar title. I like that
Yeah.
it sort of came to you out of the ether. Like it wasn't this like hugely considered thing. Um, and I like the image of it because it's like you could read it a couple ways too. Like,
Hmm.
in the room, she is moving something, or maybe she's moving the room.
Yeah.
You know, which I find kind of,
Oh yeah, right.
I mean, I'm an English
Like
teacher,
maybe
so that
they're like
explains
like that
it.
may I didn't think about it. Yeah, right. Like that she's
Like there's
that
something
she's
in the
moving.
room, yeah, that she's moving the room.
She moved the room and there's something in that.
Right. Right, right.
Yeah.
This is what's splitting my brain in half as I go through the album. Um, but the song itself is this like long sort of there's like two parts to it because it ends up kind of exploding at one point. Um, but if the title that you came up with was sort of this piece of like automatic titling, like stream of consciousness titling, then what would you say the song itself is actually like speaking on, or like what were you trying to explore with this song?
Um well, to be honest, like I think I'm still figuring it out. Like I it's a it's like complex one. It's like an outlier, and actually for me it's the most important song. I think actually. I don't know if I don't have favorites, but it is really like the heart of the record to me.
Yeah.
And um for the reason that like harmonically the way that it works is similar to like the song Feel You, which is from Have You in My Wilderness
Right.
from 2015. I think of it similar ways to that song because it has this like has these chords in it that are kind of hopeful or something. It has this like these I think a lot of my record, this new record is like very like in the presence, is in presence in a new way than any of my other records.
Hmm.
Um and I think it's very much in a way I could explain when we get to other songs maybe, but to try to sum it up, it's like you're like in something, like it's very present
Yeah.
and in a new way, and that I think is cool. But this song feels different, I think, in a way, like something in the room she moves, it feels a little bit like a little more like it's slightly looking out.
Mm.
Like it's like the chords are progressive as like the word I always think of. It's weird. Like they're kind of like changing a lot.
Hmm.
Um I guess like, actually in the way people say progressive rock, it's a little like that, just like in that like I'm not saying it's progressive rock, but it's like there's a lot of chords and they're kind of like there's this feeling of ascension or kind of like I don't know. Like
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
I would listen to it in the same way I used to listen to Feel You demo when I was working on Feel You, where like not listening to my voice constantly, but listening to those chords over and over was very uplifting for me.
Mm,
So I had this kind of relationship during that period I was writing where I would be frequently like physically quite tired as I was pregnant. Everything was weird and like COVID and it was depressing and it was pretty hard for me to feel inspired and like but those chords really helped me for some reason. Um and I think like I just felt very yeah, I just the something was important about them
mm,
um and I think ultimately then the lyrics are just like I don't know how to explain them, but I know that there's sort of like a domestic scene. It's sort of like projecting something different onto a domestic scene. So it's
yeah.
like, and to me, it's like in some ways that can be like seen as maybe a little depressing or something, but I think maybe but the chords are contrast to that, and it's like there's something kind of looking out to me about it, or like kind of forward about it
Mm,
in a way that the rest of the album feels a little more like in something, and that's just a feeling I have.
yeah.
But I do think that I like it's interesting you're picking up on that song because I also feel that it's for me the heart of the record. And so it's interesting because it's so different than the other songs. So I don't
Mm,
know, but what unites it I think is instrumentally and like the players being on it, and the
yeah.
performances by Maya and Chris Speed are so great,
And
the
like
wind
incredible.
players. Yeah, and just like yeah,
Is that how
just
you
like
knew it would end up being the title track? Because it felt like the heart of the record for you, or
no,
was
that
that?
was that it was when I named the project file Something
Oh,
in the
okay.
Room He Moves back in the day. That was that song.
Okay.
It was always gonna, well, it wasn't all, I was gonna maybe change the title, but
Yeah.
I didn't because I liked it for some. I mean, the thing is, it's funny to me. Like, I think it's funny. I mean, I don't know. It's just like funny to me. And it is also like, I don't know, there's just some kind of like important thing going on there that
There's something in the room.
there's something in the
There's
room, but
something
it's
there.
like, but I was like staring at this avocado and then I forgot what I was gonna say.
A common problem. Um,
Um, no, but it was like, oh, well, I was gonna name the record Materia,
mm,
and then because I wanted to really emphasize the sort of materiality and like that this feeling of visceral feeling of the record.
yeah.
But I really wanted it to be warmer. I didn't want the title to feel like people really respond when it's like Latin, you know? People get like all weird about me being like into like ancient
How dare you?
classics or something like or not ancient classics. That's like doesn't make sense. But like I mean it makes sense, but you know, like I don't know. I
Yeah.
just didn't want that feeling even though I love that word, but so something in the room she moves, I just thought it's like it's kind of a there's just something funny about it.
Well, there is a sense of humor in your work that I think does get overlooked a little bit. I mean, it's not like every song you've made is like a laugh riot, but like there is a subtle sense of humor, I think, to a lot of your work. Um, that I think, yeah, I mean, the title is a little funny because it is so strange. And it feels grammatically weird, like in the mouth.
Oh, sorry, you cut out. It's probably because I'm walking. I'm sorry. I'll go sit
Oh,
down. I was walking toward the avocado, but I shouldn't do that.
it drew you in.
Okay, I'm
Um,
back. Sorry.
I was just saying that, there is a sense of humor in your work, and I do think there's a sense of humor in this title because it is so strange. It's like verging on almost silly because of how like weird it is.
Right.
And it also just grammatically just like sits very strangely in the mouth, like when you
I
say it.
know.
But I kind of like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Materia is like a nice single word title, but this like it's like a mouthful and it's like kind of a fun one.
I know. I kind of hate that because the mouthful, because that was Have You My Wilderness. And
That's
I like
true. That's true.
couldn't, I kind of like hated having to say it all the time, but it's
Right, right.
okay. It's okay.
Just call this one something. Something
Yeah,
dot
like
dot
the
dot.
original.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, actually.
Um, and it's funny that you mentioned the sort of presentness of the title track because I feel like that was something I picked up on a little bit, plus this sort of tactile nature that you sort of alluded to with Spinning, which was the second single that you've put out. Um, because I'm especially drawn to the lyrics on that one because they feel very like sensory and very corporeal. There's words like delicious and yummy, and there's like references to like breathing and like physically being in someone's way. Um,
Hmm.
but then there's also very specific references like taping reruns and things like that, like something that feels very grounded in like a common reality. Um,
Yeah.
but then of course we end with you being like imagining what it's like to be a fish. So like
Yeah.
it does kind of run the gamut, but I mean like dare I ask like what that song is commenting on then? Is that related to that sort of in something quality that you mentioned?
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is that like a lot of the songs are, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. In the case of Spinning, it's like, for me, that song is all about being in the state of, I guess you could say, like, in a state of rapture, I guess is maybe a word. I've
Hmm.
never said that. I don't know if that's correct, but like basically in a state of like creating
Hmm.
and, and like just being in that and like the fantasy of that and the like night of that being, meaning, inspired by this Helen Sixu text I keep talking about called Writing Blind, where she's like exploring the state of night, sort of that like night is the time where you can't see, and so the imagination kind of comes to you.
Hmm.
And it's this like really intense deep dive into like the that state of being, which is like this fertile state of like creation and like, and it's very, very beautiful, intense, passionate writing. And
Hmm.
I was just kind of trying to capture that basically. And I, this night and day kind of like thing happens with my record where, like with Sun Girl, where it's like the sun is like a place of like, in a way it's like the not creative space where like you have to go out and do things and you can see, and then the night is the time for like creativity where
Hmm.
you can't see, and so like you're creative. So I had this sort of di- dichotomy in place, but then also was like not going for the dichotomy, because in the end also feeling that like it's actually good to push yourself out into uncomfortable places and be in the sun sometimes and see everything in this kind of clear, like
Yeah.
not poetic way,
Yeah.
because that is like healthy for us to learn how to change and adjust and like, and so there's this whole kind of like thing to me with the record like that. There's this some kind of like, sorry, there's a loud helicopter. Is that a problem?
I think we're okay.
Okay, it's really loud. I live very near downtown LA, so
Uh
can't escape the helicopters. They love a good helicopter.
who doesn't?
Um, yeah. Yeah, there's this sort of night and day and like, I don't know. I sort of like think of these states, like they're like states of mind, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, did this record push you out of your comfort zone, like as a whole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or my life was.
Okay.
So I don't know if the record did, but maybe,
Yeah. Maybe
probably.
it wormed its way in there.
Well, every time I have to record with people like performing my music, it's pushing me out of my comfort zone because I'm like
Hmm.
terrified of it.
Oh,
So, and
okay.
that's not true anymore, but I'm still quite like timid about it. And
Yeah.
um yeah. So sure. Yeah. to some extent.
Um, one last thing I want to touch on about the album is the beautiful cover art. Um, I'm curious who is responsible for this for paint. It's a painting, I think, correct?
Hmm.
Who is responsible for and how it wound up being the right image for you for these songs?
Yeah, it's my friend Christina Quarles, who's a really acclaimed artist now, actually, like super great. She does a lot of painting, but also like different drawings and just beautiful work. And it's actually a pre-existing, it's like a painting that exists called sorry, not called spinning, called Wrestling. It's called Wrestling.
Hmm.
And just so gorgeous. And I think like what happened is I in the past I've always like had sort of like very I've had like various types of photos on my record covers,
Mm-hmm.
mostly by my really good friend Dicky Bato. And I kind of couldn't think of a photo for this record that I couldn't think of what it would be because um I wanted it to have kind of featuring the body
Mm-hmm.
in some way, or kind of not necessarily, but like I wanted it to have this like a visceral quality.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want it to have like how do you do that with photos? Like
Mm-hmm.
what would we do? Like I couldn't imagine what that would be. Um and somehow like Christina's work made sense because she's always working with these figures,
Mm-hmm.
and not always. I shouldn't say it like that, but often like there's a lot of figures in her work, like human like figures, and there's a lot of like there's sort of an infinite array of like possibilities for like how many figures there are, what they're doing, like
Mm-hmm.
um there's just incredible amount of layers to her work, and there's also like so much color and layer, like the layers are so beautiful. And
Yeah.
um it's not just paint, it's like she does, I don't know, I feel like there's tape, and there's like different stuff, and sometimes or but and like it just has this dimension that's really like almost like not like a painting, it's almost kind of like feels like bodies in movement, or like anyway,
Yeah.
there's so much layers with that, with
There's a
this
lot of
human
motion in it.
figure. Yeah, there's a lot of motion,
Yeah.
and it just felt like really nice, as like it felt good to me. And this particular one, she's very sweet about it because she's like very like busy person, but I was so happy that she was like happy to contribute a painting. And she also has a drawing that's beautiful in the vinyl,
Oh,
in the
cool.
gatefold. There's a drawing that's like so stunning. And so it's like it's just yeah, it just felt right somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt different because I've always just done a photo, and it just felt like a nice, fresh, like a new thing. And it kind of feels like, like Aviary, the cover, it was like this, um, I love it. But it was like it was like basically it was like Dickie and I were up in our attic, like projecting all these different images, and that's how it was like layers of projected images, and it's like so complicated,
Mm.
and to have this like very like, and I love it, but it feels very like it feels very aviary, and I wanted to have this feels more like this is like a painting, and
Yeah.
it's like it's very like there's like I don't know, while it's like so complex, there's also a lot of clarity, and that it's like this like singular, it's like this paint, I don't know, there's something, it has a lot going on, but it's also very like bold or something. And like the
Mm-hmm.
figures are maybe like having sex, but maybe they're fighting, or maybe it's violent, or maybe it's like very loving, like
Yeah.
like it doesn't, it's like it could be so many things. And I just like,
Mm.
I think that kind of complexity, um yeah, I'm kind of jumping around here, but I think that
That's
that
fine.
like complexity really was nice, but also like brought a new perspective than just like a photo of me, or I don't know. A photo would have been fine, but maybe just not of me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
thought it was like a fresh new like idea for this record.
Yeah, no, I mean it does stand out. Like if you like held all your records up against each other, like it does stand out. It's very bold, it's very colorful.
Hmm.
And there is a lot of emotion, but also, yeah, that ambiguity to it, I think, is fitting of the record in some sense as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Before you go, I did want to briefly touch on your film scoring. Um,
Hmm.
because as a film lover myself, I'm always excited when musicians I enjoy also score film. And you have scored
Yeah.
several films, including a film I really like called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always,
Yeah.
which is a really lovely, beautiful film, heart touching, heart-rending film. Um, which by the P.S., can we put Sharon Van Etten in more things?
Yeah. Yeah. She's great.
She has such an interesting compelling screen presence. Like she's barely in
Yeah.
that movie, and I'm still like,
Yeah.
I
That's
I want
true.
more.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It's so funny that she's in that. Like,
It kind of is. She's like in it, and then she's gone. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm curious, like, of two things because you've done that. You've done a few film scores, so I'm curious what you like sort of most about film scoring versus doing your personal records, but also you did something really cool, which was I think it was a live score of Passion of Joan of Arc. Is that what it was?
hmm. Hmm.
And I'm curious because that's a huge thing. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering if you felt a certain sort of like nervousness or like weight of responsibility doing that piece.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny because um I'm trying to think if this is connected, but anyway, but I wrote an essay for this about those two, the experience of scoring those two, which I guess I don't want to get deep into because that's not the point, but I spent a lot of time comparing the experience of writing music for the Joan of Arc film from 1928
Hmm.
and Eliza Hittman's Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, having to do with the characters. But anyway, and it was in the movie, like movie has this like journal. Anyway, I was just like thinking about that for some reason, but they kind of connected the two for me, like thinking a lot about it. But
Mm.
um so yeah, I mean writing for The Passion of Joan of Arc is a weird task because the director seems to like the director who is long past obviously Carl Dreyer didn't seem to want to like any of the scores based on my
Mm.
understanding, which is limited, but my basic understanding is that he wasn't really happy with any of the scores that people did for it. Probably wouldn't have been happy with mine. And it so I'd had to kind of accept that. And that's kind of like actually when you think of it, it's kind of like hard to accept that. But I guess I
Yeah.
just did.
Yeah.
I was mostly focused at this point on like how do I get this done? Because at the time it was also like our time was quite limited because we still didn't have childcare and it was like we really didn't have a lot of time
Yeah.
to be honest. And it was a feat for sure because I'd never written for choir. This is a 36 voice chorus and it's opera
Mm.
chorus. So it's a specific kind of music or a specific kind of group. It's not a choir. It's like they sing opera. They're an opera chorus, which is like
Yeah.
yeah, a certain type of singing and style of music in certain ways. But it was such an amazing experience, and there were a lot of things about that scoring that this live show with chorus that were very different than like say scoring any of the other films I'd done or like
Yeah.
TV stuff I'd done. So it was like in the past I would mostly work to picture. Not actually with Never Really Sometimes Always I came up with the music before the film was done based on the raw footage. So it was more like almost looking at like imagery of the actors and like not hearing much right away. Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
I did hear the sounds, but yeah, I was working with raw footage, which was actually really fun. But and also like Eliza didn't give me any like a lot of in the past sometimes they have like sample music they put in to give you an
Right.
idea of what they want. Eliza didn't do that. Which was so cool, you know. She's just like come up with something. And but then the difference with like the Passion of Joan of Arc was that well, there were a lot of differences, but the big thing was that you're working on a live thing. You have to like um the notation has to be like at once we're working with time code, but we also there's a conductor and the
Right.
conductor has to know exactly how like so how long is this bar? How many seconds is this bar going to be in the notation? And like I had
Mm-hmm.
to do all this like basic kind of very simple but tedious arithmetic all the time, which I had never had to deal with in the past because I would write to picture in my DAW. Like I would notate only to if I was having someone come in and play a part, I would like transcribe things for people to perform
Yeah.
for the score, but otherwise I was in a DAW working with to picture. So it's like the, you know, very contemporary way of doing it. But there was also this like if you're doing it live, it has to be, yeah. Um the notation has to be so that everything needs to line up where it's going to line up in the film. And I just had never had to deal with that before. So it was like there
Yeah.
was a lot. It was a lot. And yeah, it's interesting. It was like a really great learning process.
Yeah. And
And
I
then
mean,
like writing for chorus for the first
yeah.
time also.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of daunting in and of itself because you have this new task to you, but then you're doing it with this quite historical film. You're doing it in a setting that's sort of unnatural for you, so that was a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
But then you have other film work like Never Really, Sometimes Always. You have oh geez, I didn't write it down. The boxing movie.
I scored. Yeah, I
Bleed
did
Like This. Bleed Like This. That's what it
Bleed for
was.
this.
Bleed for
Yeah.
This. Yeah.
I
So,
did Never Really Sometimes Always and the Karen Dalton documentary both came out in
mm,
2020,
mm-hmm.
unfortunately. For them.
I
Honestly,
know, I know, I
tough
know.
year.
It really was.
And then I did a TV show called Pure in between that. And then before the very first project I did was Bleed for This.
Mm. And I mean, is film scoring something you'd like to keep working in?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
Do you have projects that you can't talk about?
Maybe.
Well, that's enticing to me. Um, all right. So there's probably a lot more we could talk about. We only get about an hour, so I appreciate you, Julia, for coming out and hanging out for a little while to talk about this new record of yours. Say it
Thank you so
again.
much.
Yeah, Something in the Room She Moves, which is out March 22nd on Domino. If this episode is out after it's out, then go buy it, people. And if it's out before, then go pre-order it. Yeah, thank you very much. The pleasure is
Thank you
absolutely
so
mine.
much.
All right,
Thank you so much.
take care, Julia.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.